Okay, good morning, everybody. We are back. Back. Let me load up a screen for you guys. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we're about to open. How's everyone doing today? I see in the chat we have Mohammed. Hello to you. Holy Earth. Oh, what a sell off on the open. Oh, that's a lot of sell pressure. Oh, wow. Dave Bell, good morning. Cherry, Cody, Alameen, Nils. Crypto, everybody is back in the chat. Coach Z, Sean Evans, how are you all doing today? Hope you're well. Hope you all had a good weekend as well. We've been very bullish. We had some news come out, right? Again, I think a bit of insider trading was happening, but we had a bit of news earlier that great progress has been made in terms of reaching a deal with Iran. So the market reacted quite positively, but not as positive as you would expect. So there's still a lot of doubt in the market about this whole Iran situation. But yeah, is what it is. Ange Trader, how are you? Okay, in terms of levels, I mean, we do have a gap that we just tapped into right now on the open, but we're going to let the open cool off, calm down. This is a little news spike that we had. We do have, I believe, Powell speaking later. Yes, he is indeed. In exactly 1 hour time, we'll have Powell speaking, so might be a bit choppy. Jennifer, good morning. Daniel, hello. How are you? And we've just undid the open. I feel it's going to be a choppy market. I mean, it's already been a choppy market, but I feel it's going to be even more choppy than usual today. So any profit you make, lock it in. That would be my advice. But we'll see. We shall see. We'll just look at these contract sizes coming in. 5,000 contracts on the open, all sellers, all red. And then instantly buyers coming back in, trying to push this market down. But the actual candles aren't that big at the moment. We're just going to see what the hell who wins the open, basically. Who wins the battle on the open before we do anything. We want to make sure we're not left caught out in any way. Thought we would flush from the start. Trevor, I thought maybe as well, but it seems that people knew the good news, essentially, because we had a lot of suspicious buying again before Trump announced that talks are going well. So it is what it is. And, these buyers, I'm going to be a bit more bullish, to be honest, because we had a lot of sellers come in and buyers are not allowing the sellers to make any progress as of yet. But I'm not going to jump in just yet. Trevor says right before he announced it, you could see them load on the footprint. Absolutely. I was looking at it live when it happened. I saw the exact same thing. I was like, something's happening here. And then, yep, as expected, just shot up. It was also like literally a minute before it was announced. You saw the orders loading up. So yeah, every time you see suspicious buying or selling in this market, I think it's take it as a sign that something's about to happen. Normally you wouldn't really, instantly jump to the conclusion of insider trading, but it's happened on every single news release at this moment in time. So in that respect, it would be mental. It would be mental not to take the warning. But sellers again trying to take over right now. Neil says one of the reporters in the room trading on the phone. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? It wouldn't surprise me if something like that actually happens. Look at that. Sellers are looking like they might want to take over now. I think they have won the little open battle. It looks like they may. I mean, we still got that low there. Let's see what happens on that low. Do we get a big spike in sell volume? Buyers trying to protect the low. Do we get a spike? Not a great no. We didn't really get a spike at all, meaning there weren't really any buy stops down there. Oh, there's a big random spike there. They're a bit lower down than the low. Okay, they did get triggered out. They had their stops a little bit lower. So now we know those are buyers buyers getting stopped out. We can start looking at potentially seeing any fresh volume, but it's very choppy. It's very quick right now, very volatile. So it's kind of hard to keep your eye on what the hell's going on right now. I think it's hard to know. I mean, all this sell volume, is this... I mean, it's definitely an element of fresh sellers. I'm going to hold off for a bit, let it calm down. It's a bit too crazy for me right now, truth be told. Eric, good to see you. How are you, Eric? Coach, great day, over 3K today and last night. I have a question about footprint. Absolutely, Eric, and well done. Yeah, fire away. Ask me anything. Trevor says down to the 50s area, had some strong buyers there. Let's have a look to the 50s. So where we are now, yeah, so this is a gap as well. So I expect some buyers to come in this area. But I really want to kind of wait until someone is trapped, some sort of clear sign before I jump in on any direction. Because truth be told, I am not... I don't know. I don't have, again, any bias whether we're going down, up. I mean, right now it looks like the sellers have definitely taken control. We got some fresh buyers coming in, potentially some sellers, trailing out. But we can see those numbers. Buyers are reloading. So there are some real buy pressure here. They could potentially get trapped, these buyers. And if fresh sellers come in like they do right now and actually push this down, we could keep going lower. But I don't want to short in a gap. That's the only thing. I don't want to short into this gap, because I can imagine in this area there's going to be buyers that will keep coming in. So again, I'm going to let it play out for a bit. I don't want to jump the gun here, because when you have no kind of real bias, it's a tough one. But you definitely have those buyers trying to squeeze out a lot of that sell volume. But trying to figure out this sell volume here, how much of it is real fresh sellers? How many are buyers, from this move or earlier on, getting stopped out basically in this candle? I think it's going to be an element of both. It's really hard to know, because we took the low really aggressively. It's hard to know how many people are actually fresh. But we know for a fact right now, like this right here, these are all fresh buyers, because this could have been an element of sellers who got in, trailing, getting stopped out, right? But these are now fresh buyers. We know that because we've already traded up here. So it can't be stops, right? Otherwise they would have been triggered here. These are fresh sellers. It looks like it wants to... I'm a bit late now. It does look like it wants to sell off. But again, I don't want to be in the gap. I'm going to wait. Because sellers kind of failed just that second. But really, if we get above those buyers, then that would be my stop. All right. We'll see. If we can break the gap, we'll see. Because we are approaching another low as well, which... Look at that, fresh buyers. Let's see how these buyers react. Are they able to actually make any damage? Look at that 561 on the sell side, potentially trapped at the bottom there. Sellers are going to be panicking if they don't get lower. Look at that, another 500 buyers coming in. This is a very choppy market. I don't want to be involved just yet. Wow. But those buyers kind of failed. But I do think that is an element of sellers getting trailed out again. playing it very cautious, I think. But there are definitely fresh buyers coming in, but they're not really doing much damage. So we shall see. We shall see. See what happens here. Is it fresh sell pressure? It does look like it wants to. Yep, look at that. Fresh sell pressure breaking the gap. Wow. Yeah, I don't really want to get involved in this market just yet. Just because of how volatile it is. So I'm going to let it cool down a bit. Let me look at the questions. Is that diagonal delta or horizontal delta you use? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Oh, okay, for the footprint. It is, I believe TradingView, you don't have the option to change it. So I believe it is horizontal, the delta on TradingView. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure because the bid and ask is horizontal. It's not diagonal. So I think it would be a horizontal delta. Look at this. Let's see where the sellers could potentially fail. If they fail, but they're really making progress here, the sellers. But we just want to see the sellers basically cool off, calm down, take some profit. Do you know what I mean? Kind of relax a bit. I mean, where would they take profit, right? This is the question. We got these lows, all this area here. So we can imagine there'll be profit taking any moment now. And then we can see how if buyers want to step in and if more sellers want to keep jumping in, we can kind of figure it out from there. If that makes sense. Look at that. Fresh buyers coming in. Using the footprint and diagonal comparing, if there's 3 signs of huge imbalance to the delta, is that a sign or is it institutional? Okay, so using the footprint and diagonal comparing, right? So bid and ask, you're talking, right? So if you're using a footprint and comparing diagonally, so essentially, I mean, with TradingView, like I just said, like what Trevor asked, TradingView doesn't do it diagonally, it does it horizontal, right? So each level is horizontal, okay? Because each cluster right now is 4 ticks, okay? So the only reason it's usually diagonal on the footprint is because if you look at the depth of market, right, you would have, you know, sell limit, the best sell limit, the best ask limit, and current price here, and it will have to obviously match. Do you know what I mean? Like that. If you're buying, it will match to the sell limit. So it's a bit diagonal because it's like maybe a tick or something difference, right? But because on TradingView, I've clustered it into 4 ticks per cluster at the moment, it just clusters it all into 4 ticks. So it's horizontal. It's not diagonal. Does that make sense? Is there 3 signs? So if there's 3 signs of huge imbalance to the delta, is that a sign? A lot of people use like imbalance as a potential sign, right? Institutional activity is everywhere, right? Technically, everything you're seeing is probably majority is institutional activity. So when people say chase, like, you know, when people say, oh, track an institution, all that, you're really, I mean, realistically speaking, all this volume is 95% of the volume you see is institutional, right? The question is, who wants it more? Who is more aggressive? Who is, so if there's a big imbalance, that in itself, like institutions are wrong all the time, right? The imbalance, yes, can move the market, but it's whether, like, so for example, there must have been a big imbalance here, right? For that 500 to be printed. And people will see that and try take advantage of anyone who's got too much volume in the market, okay? So they're always battling each other. So I wouldn't say imbalances necessarily are, a lot of people trade them, but for me personally, I find it very difficult to trade just purely based on the imbalance. I like to essentially try and figure out key moments. So I'm always trying to figure out who is fresh and who's getting out the market, essentially. Because any volume you see could either be people exiting or people entering, right? And you don't really want to enter when people exit. So for example, let's just be really hypothetical here. This 565 sellers, well, that's big volume. You don't want to sell here if you believe that these are people exiting, right? Because that would mean sellers exiting. Why would you want to jump in for a sell when a large chunk of sellers are actually getting out the market, right? That doesn't make sense. And we kind of identified that's most likely going to be an element of sellers exiting, because here's that low. There's going to be take profits in this area. So anyone who sold anywhere here, a lot of take profits are going to be in this area. So it's really all I'm interested in now is this area here. I want to see what's happening here. So we had buyers, potentially these are some sellers getting stopped out, trailed, but we had some fresh buyers come in. We got fresh sellers coming in. Now it's these people that I'm interested in. Are they able to keep pushing it down? Are these numbers, like you saw how these numbers are changing very quickly from like 130 now back down to negative 23. That means buyers are coming in, right? They're pushing. So it's not ready yet. There's buyers willing to buy here. So I want to see when buyers stop buying and sellers come in. So here are sellers coming in, but you can see that number still changing a bit, still changing, back down to 170, back down to 26. That's a lot of buyers eating up a lot of sellers as well. Look at that. It's gone positive now. Probably not a good idea to just sell just yet, right? You want to kind of wait until one person gives up, essentially, right? Or like, okay, boom, loads of volume came in, and there, like you can see that spike in volume, definitely more take profits happening, right? Let me just look at the chat real quick. Just took Dante says, just took 1.3K down on NQ based on the volume footprint candle on the 50 SMA, done for the day. Your videos rock. Thanks. Amazing, Dante. That is an incredible trade. Well done. Would like to see reversal at London low. I mean, look, Jennifer, it could happen. It could happen. I can definitely imagine buyers, trying to, like, we just took that low out, the proper low, from that consolidation, not just the area. Let's see what happened in the volume there. And yeah, we did get a very nice spike. So there's definitely sellers getting out the market, right? But we still had sellers willing to sell in this area here. So sellers aren't fully ready to stop, essentially. We do have buyers constantly buying the dip, right? But the buyers right now are not doing too well. Look, even more sellers coming in. So they're very aggressive sellers. That was like 500 right low down. But these people could be vulnerable, right? So if we start drifting up higher, those sellers are going to get squeezed out. But it looks like sellers just keep piling it on, There's really not going to be a pullback at the moment. By the looks of it, this is just savage right now. Truly, truly savage. A very, very savage market. This could just sell off really hard, to be honest. I mean, it is selling off hard already, but this could just keep dropping. The sellers aren't giving up at all. Like those sellers there, will be interesting to see what they do, actually. Look at that. Buyers coming in, but instantly, again, oh, big chunk of buyers, a little bit there. Little chunk. Again, more sellers coming in. It's still... We just got to wait for that momentum to slow down a bit and sellers to really leave the market wherever they want to leave the market. I mean, let's have a look at structure. Where, if you were shorting, where would you target, right? We've got another got a gap here and a low, these little lows here. So I can imagine that will be the next area where you're going to get sellers exiting. There's going to be sellers exit. I mean, it's going to be everywhere. And of course, there's going to be some sellers really targeting the low. But that's far away. So I can imagine we'll get at least some kind of a pullback before we go anywhere near that, if we do go down there. There's a nice big chunk of buyers came in there though. But you're slowly, I think now, we're slowly starting to see sellers not that eager to sell. Said that, and then literally those 200 came in. The moment I said that, there was just boom, big chunk of selling. But I do think it's calming down a little bit. It's not as crazy as it was. There's another 250, 294. It's not as mental as it was before. So, but I do think sellers want to really get it right back down again. Buyers are slowly trying to see. There's still buyers coming in, to be fair. They're not buyers as well are still trying to buy the dip, but they might get chopped up quite heavy, and then eventually they'll give up until they get to a much better area or a much better price. But something is a bit different here because the volume is kind of dying off a little bit on both sides, but still sellers are more aggressive. Delta measures overall market aggression while imbalance identify institutional urgency. That is so amazing. I wish every platform offered footprint. Do you think Ola will implement a platform that allows it? I'm using match trade and it doesn't seem to allow footprint. That's a good question, Eric. I mean, we are getting Ninja Trader, which does have footprint, but I believe like it wouldn't be out the box footprint ready. You would have to like pay for the additional order flow tools because it's usually, I don't know. Let me get back to you on that, Eric. Let me get back to you because it's very rare for a prop firm to offer footprint charts, but I don't also at the same time I don't see why it couldn't be possible. So let me get back to you on that. Looked like a short from the open, but I was expecting a flush right off the open, not a little wiggle we did. Yeah, that was a bit of a battle then. And once the sellers took control, they really came in super aggressive. Okay, we're getting a little bit of slowdown here. I think sellers are slowly kind of not as eager to short this low down. So if we get some kind of a pullback, I can imagine at some point sellers will come back in again. And then, so maybe we might start looking at getting a pullback here because the volume is slowly on the sell side, not as aggressive as it was. You know, if you look earlier, the numbers were a lot more aggressive and buyers are now, for the first time, actually trading above a big chunk of sellers, right? Here's another big chunk of sellers, all this area. Buyers for the first time are actually trading above it. Sellers shorting again. Oh, and look at them getting trapped. So yeah, I think this is a pullback here. All right, so now we can actually formulate a bit of a plan and figure out where we want to get in terms of is there any gaps, anything? There's nothing really until quite higher up. All right, it's just going to have to be a footprint job and use a bit of logic, I guess. Don't tell me it's already happened. Well, maybe not. Let's see. I thought we would get a bit more of a pullback than that. That's pathetic. Hey, Alexis, how are you? Good morning to you. Do you ever use the 5-minute footprint with this method? The only time I use the 5-minute is just to kind of look at volume distribution. So if I switch to the 5-minute, if you look at, I mean, it's really not much buy volume at all. But generally speaking, volume distribution, as long as like the majority of buyers are, you know, at the top and we're trading below them and all the sellers are below, and you have that kind of distribution and volume, that's usually a bearish market, and then vice versa for a bullish market, right? So I kind of just look more for volume distribution, but the reason I have to use the 1-minute is because it just gives me that little bit more clarity on each cluster. with this method, because the 5 minute, it becomes a bit more difficult, because once we start trading sideways like we are now, right, a bit sideways here, the 5 minute, it's going to use all this as one cluster, right? So it's going to include this and this and this all as one cluster. Whereas the 1 minute, I get a little bit more, definitely buyers got stopped out there. I get a little bit more clarity. That was hardly a pullback. Hardly a pullback. But we know buyers are out again. Any buyer that got in here, that pretty much got stopped out once we took out that low there. You can see the spike in volume. So we just got to wait. I thought there would be more of a pullback than that, to be honest. This is such a sell-off. Both ES and NQ at VWAP. Aha, that's why we had a little bit of a slowdown. Makes sense now. No need to pay. I use it there free of charge with futures. Nice, nice. So Ninja, it comes completely free. But that's if you got a futures broker, right? I think prop firm, any prop firm using, I don't know. Again, I have to double check. How do I get the footprint for Forex? Can I use Ninja? Unfortunately, Eric, you can't get the footprint for Forex. CFDs are decentralized, so there's no one exchange. So the only kind of data you'll get would be tick data, but that's pretty much useless for footprint trading. You can only use it in the futures market, but you can get currency futures, like the 6Es, the euro, and then you can trade a CFD, euro US dollar CFD, using the data from the 6E. Does that make sense? From the futures market, you can do that. I wouldn't say that's probably the best way to do it, but you could do that. It would definitely give you a bit more clarity, but you couldn't get the footprint for Forex, unfortunately. Ninja Prop provides free order flow tools. Oh, perfect. Okay, well then, Eric, there's the apparently, yeah, when we get Ninja Trader, you'll have the footprint. When it depends if you have level 1 data subscription, but yes, Ninja Trader. Okay, gotcha. If you log in, for example, trade login detail, you get most free order flow tools. I'm with you. Okay, thank you, Oppie. Thank you. And Alameen, thank you as well. Oh, wow, look at this. They're still selling off. This is insane. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely bearish. That's for sure. I'm just waiting for a little bit of a cool off, you know. Not much I can do. I don't want to chase the market. But then again, this has been one hell of a sell-off. Because there will come a point where sellers will start feeling uneasy about selling the lower down we go. And then buyers should be able to take control a bit, give you a pullback until sellers are willing to jump back in, you know. But my, oh my, what an absolute crazy move. Yo, Sammy, sorry I've been missing out on the streams, been sleeping a bit earlier. That's absolutely fine, Yom. Or Sid even. It's Sid. Good to join you, man. I'm glad you were able to join. Okay, let's have a look. Come on. Give me a pullback. I want an entry. I mean, it's not every day you get a sell-off or a move like this where there's really shallow pullbacks. They happen once in a while, where you get these really nice moves where there's just any pullback is just so shallow, maybe a candle or two, and then boom. They happen occasionally. They're relatively more rare. But the reason I don't chase markets like, it's because, all right, it would have worked nicely today if I just chased it. But majority of the days, you get chopped up if you just chase it. So it's good to kind of stay disciplined and don't get into the habit of chasing volume. All right, maybe we get a bit more of a pullback here. Maybe I'm slowly, definitely sellers. I don't think there's going to be many buyers right now. These are mostly again, sellers came in. Look, we were like 300, dropped it back down to negative. Sellers are still shorting this market, but buyers are reloading. So there are some real buyers coming in. Look at that. They took control of those sellers. Definitely a bunch of sellers here, all getting stopped out. Look at that 500, exactly where that 716 is. Sellers getting stopped out at break even, trailed. So now we want to keep an eye on the volume. We want to try and identify who is fresh, who's coming in again. But again, sellers are just coming in super aggressively. But I want to see buyers stop. Again, big chunk of buyers. So buyers are still happy to buy. So I don't want to jump in yet. Again, sellers have come in quite aggressively here. Knocked them back down to 109. $140, 199, 200. There's still buyers coming in. Kind of holding off the sellers a bit there now. Look at that big chunk of buyers. All right, good. Let's get a nice pullback. Still a big amount of buyers coming in. These are all fresh buys, so these guys are vulnerable potentially. So we could go in short once we kind of, if these buyers fail to get it much higher and we start trading below them, then I could go in short, have my stop here, and hopefully get another leg down. So again, more buyers coming in. Sellers are not as aggressive as they were. Look, I mean, they're hitting about 200 on the delta. Before they were doing like 400. So they're a little bit, sellers have kind of finally eased off a bit now. They're waiting for a better opportunity to jump back in. So this gives the opportunity now for the buyers to have a pullback. So I think this is what we've been waiting for a bit. So now the same thing. We're going to wait for the buyers to kind of just not necessarily give up, but basically start failing, right? So this is finally a bit of a pullback. Been waiting for this. All this is potentially fresh buyers. Just keeping my eye on the volume. Coming in 300, 270, 300. They're still reloading buyers, so they're still trickling in 200, 170. Little smidge of selling now coming in 149. Instantly wiped out 120. Okay, so this is the first kind of area where sellers are kind of happy to start. I wouldn't even call it size, to be honest. They're not really putting much size on, so it's not really it yet. But there's a bit more selling happening a bit higher up, which is naturally to be expected. We've had the best pullback on this whole move, so sellers are going to start trickling in, but buyers are still very aggressive. So we'll keep waiting. Again, sellers trying to, short the rip here. The moment I see buyers lay off, we also got to think, where are buyers? If you did buy, where are you going to take your profit? Maybe on these highs here. You can imagine there's going to be some profit taking, right? We want to see when buyers exit the market. That can be our cue to potentially enter for a short. Buyers are still trickling in. It's not ready yet. Just going to check if there's any kind of gaps or anything created in the volume profile. Nothing. That's been nicely filled, so that's no longer a gap. And yeah, I can imagine buyers might take profit around that black line. There's going to be an element of profit taking, and that could give the opportunity for sellers to overwhelm the buyers and push it back down. As we approach that kind of area. So let's see how the volume is looking. A bit more selling coming in now, a little bit more than before, but still, I wouldn't say it's not a great deal. I think that's just as I said that, there's a big chunk of sellers. Damn, they're just not giving any entry. Because once they come, it just, and I don't want to, because now my stop is going to have to be all the way up here. It's not ideal. Damn. Crazy. I mean, that's just, you blink and you miss it type market. You blink and you miss it. It's all right. We'll be patient. We'll be patient. It will calm down and will give us a better entry at some point, hopefully. Hopefully buyers can take control again, get it a bit further up, and we can get the opportunity we're waiting for here. Wait for new 4 hour. I personally, I don't really look at the 4 hour or anything like that. So I scalp minute per minute. But yeah, this has been missed. You saw an element of selling happening. Like here, they start coming in a little bit more, but then someone just chucked in a massive order and it just gapped the market down. I mean, all right, you could have jumped in like here and then have your stop here, but nah, I don't like having a big stop, so I'd rather not chase it. Because it's usually, that's the move, that's the main move. That's like, and it hasn't really been follow through, so it might have been a good thing. It might be a good thing because buyers have come back in again. Buyers are still happy to start buying. The only thing is buyers are only happy to buy once there's a pullback, right? Buyers kind of weren't too comfortable buying up here anymore, which makes sense because we're approaching that high. Imagine, I mean, would you be comfortable buying here after this sell-off? Probably not, right? But now that we had this little bit of a pushback, more buyers are kind of, okay, it's worth a shot because now they can have their stops down here and they can try and, get this market up. But I really want it to go a bit higher up and calm down for a bit, and then we can jump in. This is extremely aggressive. I mean, nothing's come out. I mean, it wasn't news-based because when it's news-based, it's just one giant candle. And we do have Jerome speaking in about 22 minutes, which is not, it's a bit annoying, to be honest. What's it about? To participate in a moderate discussion at Harvard University, Massachusetts. Audience questions expected. Well, hopefully the Harvard students don't ask anything that can affect the market too much. Maybe just ask him what you had for breakfast or something. I don't know. Don't talk about trading. Don't talk about the economy. But it's never, yeah. The reason I hate when he speaks is because people just, every word they hang on. He says one thing and people, and you can't protect yourself against it. Because how do you know what he's about to say? Do you know what I mean? No one knows. Only he knows. And it's very difficult to protect yourself in that moment. So if you're entering, you just got to, in a weird way, pray he doesn't say anything to mess up the price action. You're right, Trevor, though. He is a lot more rational. I think he's very cautious with his words, which is generally, uh, it's a lot better that way. But still, there's traders out there who look at his tie color and try to identify if that's a signal of whether it's going to be bullish or bear. It's just people go way too deep into everything he does. Alamin says, "What's wrong with these sellers? So aggressive." Who knows, man? I mean, but what the market is telling us here is that people don't believe that the Iran war and what Trump said earlier is they're not taking it as gospel right now. They have a lot of doubt and suspicion over any good news to do with the war. So we can ask ourselves, does that mean they know something? Do they know? Because I've been saying for a while, I think boots on the ground is going to happen. I truly do believe at some point there will be an announcement of boots on the ground, and we're going to see an absolute ridiculous sell-off. Now, that's just my gut feeling. That's not based on anything like, obviously, I don't have any insider information or anything like that. I just kind of have that, just the way the market's been reacting. It just feels like there's going to be some escalation. And I think, because look, what did Trump actually say? It was very kind of, but he didn't completely, like, actually look at the comment, right? US is in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations in Iran. Okay, great. Tick. But Trump says US will also completely obliterate all of Iran's electric generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island if a deal is not reached. So kind of going back to what he said last week, where he's like, we're not going to do it. And then he extended it by 10 days by saying he's not going to target any energy infrastructure. Then kind of positive again, will probably be reached. All right, well, probably, who knows? Great progress has been made. That sounds positive. But nothing is really kind of, it's all in the hands of Iran, essentially, right? And we don't really, and the consensus is Iran doesn't really want to make a deal. It's kind of the consensus right now. So, all right, it had a reaction. The market shot up for a bit, but it didn't spark off a whole new move. It didn't follow through, because that's all it was. People are taking it as a pinch of salt, with a pinch of salt, sorry. So, we're just at those highs. So we imagine some profit taking happening. We definitely saw a bit of profit taking happening here as the numbers spiked up on the buy side. So definitely buyers are exiting. Not all of them, but some have exited. So if sellers can make a bit of progress here, we could push down. I might potentially, I want to see fresh buyers come in before jumping in for a short. I want to see how fresh buyers react in this market. There is sell pressure coming in. There's a bit of buy pressure coming in because you've seen those numbers drop. All right. I just want to see a chunk of buyers potentially get trapped. All right, this could be it. We're seeing a chunk of buying. Are these guys going to be effective? That's the question. Are they going to get trapped? Are sellers going to trade below them, push them down? Big chunk, big chunk. Definitely some stops getting hit from the sell side. But are sellers willing to jump back in now? This is the question. Are they going to come in aggressively and push this market down? There's a bit of aggression. All right, I'm going to go in short. I haven't seen a lot, but I can have my stop just above here and see if the sellers are willing to now bring it down. This is because we don't want to release those buyers, right? We want to keep seeing big numbers coming in from the sell side and push us down. Because we had a bit of aggressive buying happening after, profit taking. Now we want to squeeze out all those buyers and all these people here. We want to get below, probably quite a bit, probably like around here we want to get to before we see them all jump out. But buyers are jumping back in again. I want to see sellers keep coming in now, because we've identified a bunch of buyers potentially being vulnerable here. All right, good. Bit of movement, but nothing spectacular yet. We want to see a big, chunk of sell volume, indicating a lot of those buyers were kind of, dropping out. But instead, buyers actually buying more. But that's good that we instantly got below them. We want to keep below those buyers. That's very good. That's it. That's what we want to see. Keep it going. Keep it going. All right. We're potentially probably getting close to some of those buyers' stops, right? We want to see them actually get stopped out or give up. But buyers are actually trying to defend, but we just ate through them there, which is good. Come on, keep at that pressure, sellers, keep pressure. Come on. Don't give up here. Buyers are still defending. They're not willing to give up yet. You can see the numbers. The buy numbers are constantly, appearing, which is a bad sign. Look at that. They're coming in aggressively trying to stop this move from happening. They don't want to get stopped out. So they're actually fighting. So sellers now need to come in hard and push those buyers back down. If we don't get that, then we're in trouble, essentially. Not necessarily in trouble, but we probably want to be getting out. Come on. I'm also in my cash account, so I've got my cash account just eyeing it up here. Got my finger on the exit on my cash account, just in case those buyers get too good. I don't like it, to be honest. The CFD and futures market is a little bit different right this second, which is a little annoying. Oh, look at those heavy buyers. Come on, trap them. Don't allow them. Come on, sellers. Where are you? Buyers haven't given up. This is why it's important. The only way this market's going to drop down another leg is if we squeeze those buyers out. Sellers have to come in aggressively below those buyers and stop them out, or get them to physically exit. Either way, doesn't matter. As long as they get out the market. Don't care how they get out the market. They just need to get out the market. That's the important part, right? And give up as well. But they haven't given up. There's some sellers coming in, trickling in, but they're not that aggressive yet. We need more aggression from the sell side. They're being a little bit hasty. But considering how brutal this market was on, when it sold off, I can imagine sellers should have a bit more balls, to jump in. Come on, we can pop them out. It just needs a pop. Just one quick move. Little pop. I'm still seeing buyers come in. They're defending like crazy. They do not want to get stopped out, these buyers. They're holding on for dear life. I commend them, but come on. Look at them. 192, 200. Back down to back up to 200. It's a bit of a battle here. Come on, not buyers. Come on, sellers. I'm rooting for the wrong team here. Oh, dear. Come on. Any second now. Sellers add a bit more pressure. These buyers are going to have to give up. They're probably sweating it a bit. They're probably very, very scared. But they're still adding. Come on. There it is. Give me a pop. I really want to see a big chunk. There's a big chunk. 300. That's definitely some buyers getting squeezed out. Good. Now, sellers got to keep selling, though. They got to keep selling. There's some fresh buyers amazingly trying to come back in at the bottom here. They're very ballsy. Not entirely sure what they're planning on doing. Come on, sellers. Fight against them. Man, buyers really like this area, don't they? They really, really like it. Look at that. These son of a... Damn. I'm going to give them another few seconds here for these sellers to squeeze these guys out. Otherwise, the buyers haven't given up, which makes me a bit suspicious. I thought surely they'll give up. I'm a little bit suspicious now. All right, I'm getting out of this market. I'm very suspicious by how much buy volume is coming in. That is too much buy volume considering how bearish this market is. I'm suspicious. Don't know about you guys, but I am slightly suspicious by that. Like, who is that confident to keep entering in this market? Watch, something's going to come out and it's going to boop. Any suspicious volume now, I am not fucking around with it in this market. Anything that looks slightly off and looks a bit suspicious, I'm not messing around, because I keep thinking now it's insider trading. It's happened too many times for me to be comfortable with it. All right, there's some sellers coming back in again. Good old sellers. These good old sellers. Let's see. Let's see what they do. Can they actually squeeze it out? It might just be, one entity being very ballsy. It could be that. But I'm always suspicious now. I don't like when I see unusual volume, unusual amounts coming in. Maybe it was just that. Who knows? All right, that's fine. I mean, again, look, those buyers are coming in. They're very eager. 150, 130, 97, 50. All right, they're not that strong right now, but they're still eager. Let's have a look what the chat is saying. Got a lot of messages here. Bum, bum, bum. Brian, Roland, good to see you again. 27.25 to 27.50 looks like Key got action on it. 27.25. So basically where we are right now to 2.5. Yeah. I mean, it's moved to it's the point of control now. So, but this is slightly suspicious to me. I'm not going to lie. It is slightly suspicious. I get that sellers aren't as aggressive as they were before, but like if we didn't have this massive sell-off, right, I wouldn't be that suspicious, because then it would just be, all right, someone is buying the dip. It's very typical. You would see that typically in the market, especially after, a bit more of a pullback. You took out the high. All right, fine. People trying their luck. Makes sense. But there should be more fear in the market for anyone buying. And these are big chunks, like big clusters. Someone is just placing orders aggressively. They're not really that scared. The good news is we did see them get stopped out, though. I can't remember where it was. I think it was on this candle, but look, it was already eaten up. It's all buy volume now. But at the time, as we got below, or got below, I think it was like around this kind of area, we saw sell volume spike, which definitely means some of these buyers got out. But there is they're just willing to jump back in, which makes me a little bit cautious, just in case Trump is about to say something or something comes out, and next thing you know, boom, you get one candle shoots up 50 points or something. But at the same time, I'm not confident enough to be like 100% insider trading and buy it as well. If I believed 100% it was insider trading, I would just buy right now and just not care, But I don't know. We came up, found a large passive seller and fell again. Powell, a lot more rational than Perez, that's for sure. Good to be a bloodbath for US soldiers if they land on the ground. Going to be, yeah. I mean, it's going to be terrible if they do that. But I do have a feeling, because Trump hasn't everyone's been asking that question. That's what every trader in the world wants to know, that the answer to that question, Boots on the ground, is it happening? Yes or no? Won't mention it. So yeah, we don't know. Let's not forget about the 39 trillion debt that's out of control. 26 had a huge buyer come in and push the market up. Highs don't seem to show passive sellers. I do like the short, as long as we smash the 26 buyer, should drop. Yes, that buyer there, you're absolutely right, Trevor. He came in, didn't he? He just came right back in around 26, around here. I thought, generally speaking, what you see is, once you take out, and a lot of buyers, you see their stops get hit, people are a bit more cautious to buy again. They kind of wait for a better price. They'll come in back in at this low, maybe. But this guy, nah. I mean, maybe potentially his stop was below here, right? That could make sense. If his stop was here and he was trying to defend his position, that could perfectly make sense, to be fair. But a lot of people would start lightening their position rather than adding, especially in a market like this. I mean, that sell-off was brutal. You've got to be slightly mental to put that much size on and be that aggressive in these kind of conditions, right? There's nothing wrong about potentially going in for a quick buy, but you usually scale your risk back a bit, when especially, all right, look, this is a very bearish market. I'm going to be very cautious. And you're going to, trail, and you're going to put your, if you're in a bit of profit, you're going to move to break even quite quickly. You want to try and cover your risk ASAP. And you usually see that happen. But this guy here, no, he doesn't care. He's all in. He's full porting. He's all in. And I just don't see why. It's not really, a spectacular area on the chart, right? Like, I could understand if it happened here. Yeah. If it happened at these lows, I can fully understand if there's someone who's really, speculating, oh, it's got a double bottom and it's going to go up, and, and they're putting size in, fine. Because that kind of makes sense. We are at a significant low. Sure. But where we are now, I mean, is it really that spectacular of an area? I wouldn't say so. Maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe they're seeing something, we're not seeing. Who knows? But considering what's been happening in the market in the last couple of weeks with insider trading, I'm not taking chances, Powell's about to speak. Yes, he's speaking in 2 minutes. Let's see what happens. I was also in the short, but looks like just chopped, so exited. Good idea, Jay. Good idea. 100%. At 10.19, I see Sammy Hammerfoot. Am I right? 10.19. Let's have a look. 10.19. Yeah, to a certain degree. I would say it fits the volume distribution slightly. I mean, there's not really that many sellers, and I don't like the fact that there's a bunch of buyers there, but overall it kind of fits it. Yeah, I think you're right. Is he about to talk, so we might chop around? Exactly, as well, Trevor. Right before Powell speaking, very ballsy, very, very ballsy. Look, they're coming back in. Like, I can understand why sellers are coming back in. Makes complete sense for sellers to keep shorting and adding size. That's not suspicious at all. But for a buyer, it's a little bit suspicious, right? Tiny bit suspicious that they're coming in, because, they came in here, but they kind of gave up once, They give up and then they wait for their next area and they jump back in, they fail, they come back in. Here they're like, nah, nah. So we'll wait. We will wait. Said says there is a fair value gap on daily candle from June 24th, 2025. It is very close to that. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I rarely look at the daily candles, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Powell should be speaking now. Yeah, so he should be speaking now. Let's see if Financial Juice is saying anything coming up. Unfortunately, I don't think I can actually. Doesn't really matter. To be fair, Financial Juice is just going to update it. Powell makes me fall asleep a bit. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to move the market that much. But I might be completely wrong. So we will see. We shall see. Yeah, buyers still in the market. Sign of a good economics is they put you to sleep. That's right. That's right. A good economist will put you to sleep. Yeah, look at this. Still buying. I think the sellers are starting to get a bit spooked now. They're like, oh, damn. And I don't blame them. I think sellers might wait. I think, if we take out, again, the high here, I think a lot of sellers might back off a little bit and wait for, maybe at these highs here, come back in again. But I don't think we'll see. We'll see. Jay, are you on a funded or live? This is a live with Ola Prime Markets. Okay. So we're a prop firm and a broker as well. So I'm trading on the brokerage right now. But we're also a prop firm. We do futures and CFDs as well. Dun, 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 dun. This is very boring, this market. Nothing's come out. Is Jerome actually talking yet? He's usually never that late. He's usually quite punctual. He hasn't actually started yet. He's a few minutes late. What's going on, Jerome? It's unlike you. He's usually bang out on the minute. Good afternoon. And the market just oh dear, oh dear. Let's have a look. I mean, there's not much really to do right now. We're just because I'm not interested in shorting just yet. Not while this buyer is so aggressive. Because sure, we might get back down to the low here, but he's just going to jump back in and keep. And look, he's happy to start buying higher and higher up. Like before, he was more, buying down these lows. Sure, fine. But they're getting a bit more ballsy. They're happy to start buying further up in the range. So who knows? It'll sell volume, but this just could be another rotation. Yeah, look, buyers come back in again. Not too aggressively, but nonetheless, they are coming back in. Sean Evans says, for your information, the US dollar is at current year high, will probably break level. Interesting. Wow. Well, that's good to know. Very good to know. Oh dear, oh dear. I mean, trying to figure out what can we do for this range. Try and figure it out. Normally, I'd use the cumulative at the start of the range and try and figure out, like round here's the start. We were at negative 4,100, give or take. Now we're at negative 2,000. So a hell of a lot more buyers have come in just since this range started. So from here to here, we haven't actually gone anywhere, right? Whether you bought or sold, you're going to be kind of, you could have won or lost either way. But an extra 2,000 buy contracts have entered in this area here. And they haven't pushed it up. So generally speaking, that's a good sign that we're going to go down because they're very inefficient. But lately, that's been very also a good sign of insider trading. In a normal market, okay, let's see if this buyer is willing to jump back in again. Because we're finally getting, back to the low of the range. Is this buyer still in the market? Were they just a lunatic or do they know something? It just bought up quite a bit. That was a bit of a hectic jump there. I'm assuming Jerome's saying something. Was that Jerome? Yep. Well, he's not even talking. Who's this guy? That looks the most boring. Can you imagine being sitting there? Dear, oh dear. Imagine being in that audience. I want to blow my brains out. Most boring thing ever. It's not even lit up well. I mean, at least, give me some bright lights or something. Entertain me. Maybe have a person playing the violin in the background or, I don't know, juggling or something. Just kind of keep the entertainment level there. So you can't see who's sleeping. Cody says sideways, nothing here for me but patience. Absolutely. And the buyers just stepped right back in. Wouldn't admit defeat. Sit on your hands for now, I guess. Absolutely, yeah. We don't want to be trading right now. We don't want to trade this. Is he talking yet? Is he actually talking? Okay. He's starting to talk now. Man, he's aged, doesn't he? I swear on the last FOMC, he looked a bit younger. He looks a lot older here. Ah, all that stress. Don't blame him. That's a stressful job. Especially with Trump on his back constantly. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. What am I doing here? Let me move my cash account here. All right, good. There, that buyer still coming in. I kind of want to just give it to the buyer now. Just make your money and let us continue. Come on, dude. Just make your money. We can get rid of that black line. I'm really only interested on this this high. And then obviously I want to put a line on this low as well for the range and this absolute low here. That should be good. We hit a passive buyer off the lows. Yeah, definitely that spike in sell volume. I think most likely a passive buyer. There's some aggressive selling again. So all right, the sellers are They're a bit more serious now. We went out the, well, not really out the range, but that is the first decent chunk of sell volume I've seen in a while here. This could potentially be the beginning of a breakout if they have any follow through, but it doesn't look like they managed it. For a few seconds there, it looked good, but that buyer was adamant again. But let's see. They could still, look at that. They're coming back in. It looks like the buyers now. They were adamant. For a few seconds there, it looked positive. We were getting that big kind of, sellers coming in. Looks like they were about to, try and punish these buyers, but they just got absorbed. Passive buyer. Now they're coming in aggressively, the buyers. Let's see if the sellers can do the same to the buyers that the buyers did to them a few minutes, a minute ago. And it looks like they did. Okay, this is the first time where you're seeing something a bit more interesting is happening in these last two candles. They're being aggressive in a much shorter area, right? On a much smaller scale. Could the sellers take it here again? They're trying to take control one last time, maybe. Maybe they'll succeed here. Buyers coming back in. Can the sellers wipe out those buyers quickly? They can. This might be actually finally it. We might get the breakout. Unless that buyer comes back in. 280, 300. Buyer is still trying to hold on. Maybe that buyer's going to get stopped out here. Can they surely that buyer can't hold on for much longer. Surely we see a bunch of stops get triggered right now. Surely here we're going to see a big chunk of volume. They're still holding on, this buyer. They're not giving up. Holy moly. Look at that. They're still coming in aggressively. They haven't given up. Sellers need to come in aggressively. Oh, look at that. Are the sellers going to take control? They really want the breakout. Come on, sellers. Let's get that. Let's squeeze that bastard out. Oh, it looks like they might do it. They might do it. Oh, looks like the buyers might. No. This is, the buyer just about held on with 400 contracts in there. Damn. That buyer just held on, but it's not over yet. If the sellers can squeeze that buyer out, because now he's even more vulnerable. Oh, they might do it. They're coming in again. The sellers are serious here. They literally, I think, a few more points down and the sellers have got this. That buyer's going to have to drop out. I don't think they can hold on for that much longer. They are panicking right now. They're really panicking. This is basically just institutions fighting it out right now. Oh, no. Once they let go, that buyer, it's going to shoot down like crazy. They still haven't let go. You haven't seen the spike yet. The volume didn't spike yet, so they haven't let go. But they must surely let go here. They can't hold this. This buyer is insane. Maybe it's right at the low. Their stops might be right at the low. I thought their stops might be around this area, but it might be below this black line now. I did actually get in my cash account. I didn't get into Ola Prime account, but I'm in my cash. So that's, oh, there's the stops. See that big spike of 700? Some of them have got out. But I don't think that's all of them. I think that was just a few. They're still buying it up. Buyers are still buying it up, but I think sellers might squeeze them out here. Really below that black line, I can imagine. That's where you're going to see the big spike in volume. Break that black line, sellers, and that buyer has to get out the market. They can't hold this for much longer. I don't think they're an insider trader anymore. I think it's just someone being super ballsy. I might be wrong. They might still just add and get this market up again. Look at that. They're making progress again. Just below, just above the low. The sellers are not having it. They're seeing victory right now. The sellers are so close. They're seeing victory. They do not care. Look at that. The sellers are adding. They're determined. And I feel they're more determined. Here it is. Come on. Come on. Give me that pop. I want it. Ah, you bastards. Buyers are trying to take control again. Come on, get below them. I don't know if to exit now. Come on, sellers. I don't like the buyers keep adding. Ah, you bastard. I'm out. These buyers held on. I think they must be insider traders. They're way too aggressive. Come on, they just wouldn't let go. It got so close to that low there. Definitely some buyers got out, right? You saw that spike somewhere here. Look at that volume. Look at that data. This is insider trading. Something is going to happen. It's going to shoot up. I am convinced it's insider trading now. That's not normal, man. That's not normal. This person is way too ballsy. They look at this. Look at this. Bloody hell. Wow. Very, very sure of his position, Trevor. Very sure. That person is not. He is keeping that market up single-handedly. They do not care. Wow. ZT Content, good morning to you. This is a soccer match. It really is. What do buyers know that we don't? Exactly my question right now. What does that buyer know? It's obviously going to be maybe a few buyers, not just going to be one person, but I always just refer to them as like an individual. But what do they know that we don't know? Because that is ballsy right there. That is extremely ballsy. No, institutions, they have risk managers. They have. That is a very dangerous tactic to play, to keep adding. There it is. Is this news? I guarantee there's going to be some news. They know something. What's Financial Juice saying? Anything yet? Unless it was just something Powell mentioned. I mean, it could be Powell related, to be fair. It could be someone knows with him, but I feel like something, they know something. This is not normal buying. Look at that. Look at that. Nothing has officially come out yet on Financial Juice, but this is a bit delayed. But that definitely felt a bit news-like in the way it kind of just went a bit crazy. Anything? No, nothing's come out. Events in the Middle East will affect gas prices. That's not going to be it. Tariff inflation is likely one-time price increase, adding 0.5 to 1%. Oh, it could have been this. But it could have been tariff. We forget about the tariff situation. That was the big thing last year. Now, obviously, it's kind of, it could have been that. So it didn't really move it that much, but there's definitely the market's definitely reacting to something. I just know financial juice, unfortunately, is a little bit delayed. When was that? 347. No, it was that candle there. Well, I mean that was the candle that went a bit crazy. The one before that was just a lot of buying, but this one was the one that was very sort of, very quick. So I do think that is tariff related. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be involved in this, but if I'm going to have to bet, I'm going to bet on the buyers now, because I feel like this buyer who's been coming in constantly, they know something. It's weird. They know something. They're too ballsy. Really liking your stream, bro. Thank you, Smart Trade, Paul. Oh, I'll just call you Paolo, even. Let's go buyers, Daniel says. We're going to retest the weekly open gap. That low looks strong with that buyer. Retest to 21 maybe. Take place as short though. Sup, Sammy. Algo Prime Plus, what's up? Retested 21.22 and smashed the sellers. Happened so quick, I missed it. Yeah, that was super quick. Berry says he just made 600 from this. Amazing, Berry. Well done. Well done indeed. Look at this. All right, I mean, it's calmed down a bit. It might have just been that tariff. It may have just been a little spike to do with where's it gone? Here it is. It may have been that. But again, I don't think this is what that I don't think it was that's the reason this buyer bought. Does that make sense? Because they've been buying for a while. How would they know? I guess they would know that. If it was insider trading, I guess they could have known, but that Jerome would talk about that. But again, it's a bit, Matt, it happened when Powell was talking about interest rates. I'm listening to it alongside. Yeah, no, I agree, Matt. I do think it was this here about interest rates and inflation. There was something about interest rates here. It came out. But my question is, this buyer we've been tracking for a while now, who's been extremely ballsy. Do you think they were buying because of Powell? Maybe they knew what Powell will be talking about? Or do you think it was more likely they were buying because they know something about the Iran war and Trump is going to say something and it's going to cause a massive spike, like we've seen for the last God knows how long now? That's the question mark I have right now. If Powell wasn't speaking, I'd be 100% like, yeah, this is someone knows something about Iran, right? I don't know. Sammy, I want to join your stream earlier in the mornings, but unfortunately I have a very old computer and it freezes a lot when I have my Ninja Trader platform running at the same time. So I tried to do my trading before I join you. That's absolutely fine, ZT Content. Absolutely fine. I think you can, if you got like if you got an iPhone or Android or whatever, you could probably just have it on the phone, and then you can have your computer for trading, and then you can be on the stream like on your phone. That might be better. Well, I'm gonna start thinking about being bullish, just because it's unusual. It's suspicious, the volume. It's very suspicious. I mean, that was a lot of volume. 3,500. It just wouldn't give up. Look at that, and they're still adding. They're still coming in. I think sellers are going to give up soon. I can guarantee you a lot of sellers were spooked by that. They were very spooked by that. Me included. I don't feel very confident shorting anymore because of, this maniac in the market who's just adding size. I would feel very I'm very cautious about shorting it now. But we're very much still in the range. Anything is possible. Still very much in this range. So anything is possible at this moment in time. We don't know. It's all just speculation. So just going to have to wait and see, I guess. Let's see what Powell's been saying. Nothing too... Yeah, it's all just a bit meh. There's nothing too crazy at the moment. I think a lot of this chop might be down to Powell. See, I'm questioning whether to just trust this buyer, enter long, have my stop below, here somewhere, trust that this buyer knows something I don't know, and just jump on their position. Do you know what I mean? I'm debating whether to do that. Like, sure, I'm going to be in drawdown for a bit. If I just jump in here, I'm going to, because, there's a good chance it will keep going up and down for a bit. But I am really debating. It's just going to be one hell of a stop loss if I'm wrong. But I feel like this buyer knows something. Look, they're just adding. They're adding size. Fuck it. I'm going to go in even at the top of the range. I'm going to do it. I'm going to assume this buyer knows something I don't know, and it's insider trading. I'm take profit. I mean, fuck knows, right? I mean, you could look right at the top here again. But I'm going to keep the TP away. That was, again, a lot of size from the buyer higher up. I feel like they know something. I feel like maybe something will be announced, Trump-related, Iran-related. They're positioning themselves aggressively in the market. Look at all this buying. They're trying to buy, and I'm jumping on their volume. That's what I'm doing. This is my strategy right now. This is not based on, structure or anything. This is purely based on the fact that I think this is insider trading. So I'm going to look away because and just hope something is said. That is my strategy at this moment in time. So a bit different than usual. All right. I mean, we broke the high, and we definitely look. This is what you would expect to happen. Look at all those. Look at that volume count come in the moment we broke the high. What do you think that is? Of course, that's all the sellers from here getting stopped out. That's what you would expect to see, but we didn't see that. When we broke the low of the range, we didn't really see that with the buyer. The buyer just kept adding and adding and adding. They didn't let go. And that is what is suspicious about it. Not letting go makes it suspicious. And look at that. They're adding more. They're adding more. They are very, I feel like they know something. Regardless of the spikes and wicks, the price is still ranging on daily VWAP. Interesting, Manu. Interesting. Asia and London sessions was bullish. They were very bullish. You're right, Barry. That is true. Trevor, to be fair, market is a bit different from usual as always as well. It is very different. I think, like, normally I never chase volume. I would never have made a trade like this at the top of a range, at the stop loss at the bottom of the range. That's just not my style at all. But lately, every time we've seen suspicious volume in the market, it was followed up by some kind of news release, and it was obvious it was insider trading. So I'm going to guess it's the same thing. Why would it be any different now, right? Some major institutional investor, including Bill Ackman and analysts at Goldman Sachs, have noted today that valuations for high-quality US tech stocks are starting to look extremely cheap. Oh, Alpay, yeah, absolutely. But then again, I mean, the massive, I mean, the tech stocks, yeah, you're right, but they were massively overvalued to begin with, in a weird, and a lot of people are kind of expecting that AI bubble to pop. So, but I don't think it will happen just yet. I think majority of those analysts, they see it as buy the dip. Oh, look, it's a good time to buy the dip type strategy. I mean, this is working out quite nicely so far, but this isn't what I'm actually waiting for. I'm waiting for that crazy news candle to come, Where is the crazy news candle? I mean, this is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining right now, but I'm expecting some crazy news candle where it just shoots up. I mean, just look at this volume. That buyer is very, very serious. Relative to earnings growth, suggesting the market might be nearing the end of the correction phase. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, long-term direction for me, at least, is for me, it's all about what's happening with Iran right now. That's for me the long-term direction. Until we get clarity with that, I don't want to make any long-term predictions. Do you know what I mean? But I can absolutely see, considering how the market was to where it is now, the tech stocks are absolutely, cheap. So I can definitely see people wanting to buy, because regardless, they're going to recover. Even if they keep dipping a bit, they're going to recover. And if you've got the capital to hold it, it's fine. I was hoping to see the 22 area show me a large spike in delta on a retest, but it didn't, so I stayed out. Yeah, the 22 area. Oh, okay, around here, yeah. You wanted to see like a big spike of either sellers get trapped or potentially a big chunk of buyers. I agree. That would have been a good entry, but we didn't really get that. The volume was just kind of the same. I mean, but this is a nice bullish move so far. We might just undo everything we just did. It wouldn't surprise me anymore. Still waiting. Oh, what's this? 603. Oh, just now. Traders ease Fed hike bet and price in change of cut this year. Okay, so that's this bullish move up. I'm still expecting something else. I don't think that's what that buyer was really. I don't think that was what he was buying for. The buy in here just felt a bit too like he knew something else. He knew something a bit more concrete. He was looking for a quick payday. Come on, give me a really good spike. Just tweet something, Trump. You always tweet when I'm not in the market. Please tweet this time. QWERTY says on NinjaTrader chart MES 5 minute, there's a huge move up. Is there a delay in your data? I'm on the 1 minute, QWERTY. This is the move up. This is the huge move up. Oh, science just popped. That was just normal. That was normal. That wasn't. Yeah, I mean, we've got the huge move up here. On the 5 minute, I guess it will look like that, right? He has delayed data. This isn't delayed data, QWERTY. This is actual time right now. This is 4:05. Maybe you're looking at the stream a little bit delayed. Make sure the stream is up to date. I can promise you this isn't delayed data. My time 4:05. I don't know where in the world you are, but you can figure out I'm in London. I promise you it isn't delayed data. Okay, so now we got the sellers coming back in. Was this an inside trade? See, every part of me wants to get out this market. I don't like any of this right now. Like, every part of my body is telling me to get the hell out looking at this order flow. I'm just seeing buyers get stopped out, getting trailed out. But I'm still expecting Trump to tweet something here. It could happen. I don't know. All right. I mean, if it keeps dropping, I'm gonna get out because I don't know if. Yeah, this doesn't look good. Maybe it wasn't insider trading. Maybe it was just someone who knew that Powell was going to talk about whatever, about interest rates, and therefore, bought very heavily. But and it's not Trump related. So maybe it's not. Maybe there won't be a Trump tweet or something. Because now all of a sudden that's a freaking big sell-off. I'll see if there's any buyers willing to come back in. If there's not, I'll get out. No, it's just more sellers. This is why I don't like trading a different strategy, if that makes sense. Because there's every hour I'm getting out. I don't like this at all. I don't like it at all. On MES, it almost closed that bearish movement. QWERTY, I mean, I don't know. I mean, just look at the time that you have. What is the time right now compared to what is the time on the screen for me? And you can figure out, like, I mean, I'm on not micros, I'm on the E-mini, but I can assure you it's not delayed data. Coach Sam, can I DM a private question to you? Absolutely, Eric. Dave Bell just touched value area high. At least move stop loss to break even. Yeah, I pretty much just got out break even, so it's fine. We just filled the imbalances and then we reverted down. I mean, the only reason I took that trade was purely a bet that it was insider trading. I was hoping maybe some Trump tweet will come out and that would cause the market to shoot up. But I could be very wrong here. It's a really tough it's a tough strategy, I mean, to hope that something is insider trading and they know something and the market's, Trump is going to say something. It's a big gamble. But if it does happen, oh my God, will I be so pissed off that I got out. Can you imagine if it just happened? I would actually cry. I think I would genuinely cry if it happened. I followed you, but chasing is scary. It is scary, Jennifer. YouTube has an automatic 2-3 second delay. Nothing Sammy can do about it. Not delayed. Sammy is RT chart matches with mine. All good. I think data is 15-minute old because an interest rate MES is already going down massively. I can assure you it's not 15 minutes old, my data. I mean, this is real time right now. I don't know. Are you sure you're on? I mean, what is the actual timestamp on NinjaTrader for you right now? Because this is 11 past the hour. Like if you look at the bottom here, I don't know if you could see it. It says 4:11. This is the current candle right now, right? My time here is 4:11. This is up to date. It's not 15 minutes behind. Trevor, I think you might be right. Yeah, so QWERTY, this is just the CFD chart. So the price is going to be different to the price that you see on the actual futures, right? This is CFD. So just ignore this price here. Just ignore that. Forget what it says here. That's just the CFD price, but it's not the futures price. So if you're comparing the prices, then yeah, it's going to be different. Something's going on here, though. Look at some of this volume coming in. We had some buyers potentially get trapped at the top there. This is looking slightly interesting. Something's happening here. Feels like signs gearing up. This is not delayed. It should be the YouTube stream delay, but I'm seeing exactly what Sammy's seeing with 2-3 second delay. Yeah, I don't know. I can assure you, like everyone is saying, I can assure you it's not delayed, QWERTY. Unless the MES chart is completely different, I highly doubt it. I mean, it doesn't. It's completely correlated. Yeah, MES chart is identical. So I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. Let's see what happens here. I mean, we're getting something in this area is very interesting. Maybe QWERTY's in the future. QWERTY, if you are 15 minutes in the future, please tell me what is about to happen. That would be incredible. Can you imagine if you somehow, I don't know, unlock some chart that was 15 minutes ahead into the future? Oh, man. I wouldn't sleep. I would just keep trading it. It most likely is the stream. You're probably just, the stream itself is delayed, if that makes sense. Just try fast forward it to the, I mean, you probably won't hear this right now if it is, but you know what I mean. Someone in the chat can tell him. It looks like sellers are taking over again. Well, let's see if the sellers can actually take out these lows and finally make the move that they were waiting. Is this buyer still going to be in the market? There was definitely a buyer here. You know, this person most likely is going to get squeezed out soon. Where are their stops going to be? I would have assumed around here. So the fact that we haven't seen a spike in sell volume tells me that buyer is still in the market. I did go short on my cash account when that buyer was trapped. I got short at 6435. 6435 right there. There's that there's the buyer getting out. So that buyer is out the market. I am targeting these lows again. Let's see if freaking sellers can do it this time. Come on, this is nice. If I see any buying, I'm getting the hell out. I'm very cautious on my cash account. I don't hold. $89. It still looks like fresh sellers are coming in, which is okay. So I'll keep holding, but I want to get below that 110. Keep reloading. That's good. Actually, I'm gonna target lower. I think we could break the lows now, because that buyer has kind of got the hell out. I'm going to target these lows down here. I'm targeting 394. 6394 is where I'm targeting on my cash. 394. So around here somewhere. Oh, this is nice. Very, very nice. It's good movement. Very good move. Oh, that's a big chunk of buying. Let's get below that buyer quickly. Come on, sellers, reload. No, buyers are reloading. I don't want to see that. Get below them. Get below them. Nah, I'm out. I'm taking the money. I don't like it. Cool. It is us 50 minutes ahead of QWERTY. Go long, man. If it's live, it has a red dot. Good call, Sammy. I'm glad you caught that. Thank you, Highland. Occasionally click the live button just to make sure you are live. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like how. I mean, the buyers are still willing to come in. I don't think it's insider trading anymore. I think potentially whoever that buyer was back in this area, I think they had a bet maybe more to do with Jerome Powell. I think it paid off for them. I think they're pretty much kind of happy to get out the market now. We're seeing buying come back in, but it's this is more based on like what you would assume. We're back in the middle of that, range. There's going to be buying coming in, but I'm not I'm not massively like, what's the word? I mean, if we get below that 500 again and the sellers add more, I'll be willing to go short again, because I think we might keep dropping. Come on. I want to squeeze out that buyer there. If I see sellers willing to keep selling, I'd actually might be happy to jump in again. But the buyers are still coming in, so not quite yet. Tamsleen, happy Monday to you. How are you? Mr. 6422 still there. Do you think, Trevor? See, I don't know if that's partially. I mean, it is a lot of volume. That is a little bit scary. And they are jumping in, but I'm not entirely sure if it's the same guy anymore. Because It could be, though. It could be. You're absolutely right. It could be. Tracking that guy is a ball ache, I'm telling you. I really don't like tracking him. There is still that little fear in me when I go short that it was insider trading and there will still be a Trump tweet of some kind and the market is going to shoot up. There is still that fear in me. Because again, look at this buying coming in. It could be the same person. It could be. But I'm glad I got out of that trade. I got out like here somewhere. So I'm very glad I got out of that. Because I would not want to have held. No, sir. But I am looking at potentially shorting again the moment I see something on the footprint of interest, I will look to short. But at the moment, this is all still buyers. They are very adamant here. I managed to catch that short on NQ from 350 down to 289. Not sure what the next move is at the moment. That is a beautiful short, man. Well done. The next move is hard to predict, isn't it? I mean, I still think we're probably going to go down. But these buyers are very... All right, this is interesting right here. Some first bit of fresh selling we've seen come in. That looks half decent. We're getting very close to some of these buyers here. These buyers stops are probably going to be below there or maybe somewhere within this kind of move up. So if I see some bigger numbers as we go against them, if I see bigger sell numbers appear, I'm going to assume that's a lot of these guys dropping out and I will jump in once they exit. But I don't want to jump in yet because sellers could very easily just get trapped here, and it will be like this basically. Right, sellers could just get trapped, we'll go back up and then, so I want to see a bit of progress from the sellers before I'm willing to jump in. But it's looking a little bit better. I just like the volume on the buy side being potentially trapped here. It looks quite nice. All right, I'm going in short. Okay, I got in short 6,430 on my cash. 6,430, come on. I'm in a little bit of drawdown now. I'll go in the Ola Prime account as well, so you can kind of see what the trade is. But I am rooting for these lows to be taken out. I want these lows to be taken out, but realistically, my stop is going to be above here. I don't really hold it much more than that. So quite a tight stop. That's good volume coming in. I'm assuming it's hard to know whether these are real sell volume. I don't like what I've just seen here. That doesn't look good. Got my finger on the exit. Nah, I don't like it. That's too much buy volume. I need to see sellers come in now. Otherwise, I'm getting out. I'm holding it. 300. That's a lot of... Come on, sellers. Get below that 300. Nah, I'm out on my cash. I'm out. I don't like it. I'll hold the Ola Prime count. That's fine. I don't mind if I get stopped out on that. But I don't want to hold it to the stop loss on my cash account just yet. But I will be willing to jump back in if the sellers come in aggressively and get below that, then I'll be willing to jump back in. But as of yet, I'd rather get out because I feel like it could be a bit of a pop. Yeah, look, they're just adding these buyers. It looked like they were about to potentially get squeezed there, but not quite, sadly, not quite. They were quite good. They were quite good. Look at that. Look at all that volume. Whoa. All right, so this black line needs to be up here. Show me something. Seen some fresh buyers come back in. Can the sellers this time take it? Are they going to do it? 119? Not yet. We're still not seeing it. Looks like the buyers are, yeah, they're very strong. They're very, very strong. Just waiting for that little weakness from the buy side to appear. For a brief second we had it. Oh, that's a big chunk. I think that could be some take profits actually. Potentially got triggered there. Kind of near that high. Buyers scalping. Let's see. Let's see. I have got my finger on the sell button because I feel like we could get a good short anywhere here. I feel like it's gearing up, but the volume distribution is still quite bullish at this moment in time. All the sellers are at the bottom at the moment, you know, and buyers at the top. So I want to see that shift happen. But I am liking, I don't know, I can kind of see the exhaustion slowly start to happen, potentially. Like these are fresh buyers. They're not coming in that aggressively anymore. They're almost, they're still coming in, but they managed to push it a little bit more, but they got absorbed there. They're still coming in. They're not over yet. They're still, these buyers are still, but those are vulnerable fresh buyers. Again, we could potentially squeeze them out here. If we get nicely below them, we could squeeze out those buyers. But I really want to see that sell pressure get below those buyers. If we don't see that, like you could front run and short it here and literally have a stop above that candle. Because we're technically, all right, I'll front run it on the Ola Prime account, not my cash account. And then literally have a stop like above the high. But it's dangerous if you front run because you haven't officially got below them. We haven't actually squeezed them, but it looks like they want to. Does that make sense? It looks like sellers are gearing up for it, but buyers are still very much trying to buy. And that's the danger. Like no one has actually given up. So if buyers are a bit more aggressive than the sellers, they could actually just, push it up. So you need sellers to come in super aggressive. And they need to stop out those buyers. They need to get them out the market. So realistically speaking, they got to get below that black line, Until then, that's really when you're kind of a bit more like secure in that trade and you say, okay, fine, this could happen. So I'll hold it. But I'm still not seeing any like true confirmation. Look at that. It's still going, it's still lighting up green. There's still buyers coming in. But we need to see fresh sellers keep coming in. That's a bit better. 210 there, 270, 300. That's a bit nicer. That's kind of more the confirmation there, where you see some of the buyers potentially getting out the market now. Now, if buyers stop buying and kind of give up for a bit and sellers keep adding, then you get a nice flood down. So it's like a domino effect. It's always a domino effect. But you also want to be super cautious during these kind of times where it could still be very 50-50. You know, buyers could easily take control right now. There's nothing like stopping a buyer from trying to buy that dip, coming in aggressively. You know, they're quite aggressive, and sellers kind of backing off, and then the market just goes back up, and then that's all it will give you. But as long as you see the numbers, as long as you see sellers willing to keep selling, like minus 71 back to minus 100, there's a bit more sellers coming in. Look at that, buyers still willing to jump in. That's a negative sign, right? You don't really want to be in, you know, but look at that. That's perfect. That's a really good sign right there. You see how the sellers instantly push the buyers down a bit? Now, if they can keep doing that, add more volume, get really below them, that's the sign. That's good. That's what you want to see, right? You want to see that sell aggression come in and trap those buyers quickly. Don't give them any kind of room to move the market up. Get them out the market quickly. The moment they enter, you squeeze them out fast. That was the sign. That was the confirmation right there for, all right, yeah, this could work out and could be a much better trade. But where I originally entered, that was pretty much front running for the most part. You only saw the first few little bits. But look at that. At this low, that buyer is defending. 212 they entered, right? They didn't actually get out the market. They're actually adding to their position. So they're very adamant. And that is now dangerous again for anyone in a short position, right? Because this buyer is not willing to exit the market. They're willing to keep adding into a losing position, essentially. The only way we truly go down is if the buyers give up and get out the market, not add more. And look at that. They're just adding and adding and adding. Not much you can do, but hope that sellers will keep coming in. Or get out now, you know. Get out now, secure it, because you're seeing, okay, this might be a choppy battle, right? So if you're being super safe, you want to get out now, but I'm going to give it a few more seconds to see if this buyer can get trapped like they did at the top there. If they don't, I'm out. $120, $450. If the sellers can push it down, it's a really good sign. But they're just a little bit too weak, I think. The buyers might have this. Let's just keep adding. I think that's it. I'm going to get out. I don't see, that is the danger, unfortunately, why this move almost happened. And it would have happened if it wasn't buyers adding to their position, but rather getting out their position. If buyers admitted defeat and exited, we would have dropped down. But no, this buyer was adamant, and instead of exiting, they defended and added more volume. And that's why they were able to get the market back up again. So it really is a domino effect. When you enter your position, you don't know, what the move hasn't been planned yet. There is no outcome yet. It's a step-by-step process. It's like a domino effect. And as long as everything lines up and happens as it should, you get a really good move. But if it doesn't, unfortunately, you get a failed trade like this. London Edge says, why do you think it's just one buy? Isn't it just high volume, lots of buyers? When I say like one buyer, I don't mean literally like one person, right? It is sure going to be a collective, but it will usually be like an institution that's moving the market, like a big institution, right? Your guess is as good as mine on who, right? Who knows? But it will be someone, who probably has a position here and wants to defend their position, and they're the ones who add volume a little bit aggressively here, and then other buyers will jump in as well when they see that, and they all jump in, and that causes a snowball effect, right? But it will usually be one major institution, maybe one or two big kind of, players in the market who will spark the move off. Does that make sense? And then people all kind of follow, and it snowballs, and that causes the chain reaction. But but it wouldn't be like retail traders. Like, we're just too small to ever really make an impact in the market. All right. It will always be generally institutional activity. But I just, for the sake of talking, I find it easier just to refer, as like the biggest whale you see in the market is just one person, and it just makes it a little bit easier to visualize what you're seeing, But you really saw how there was that, literally that 258 was the failure point right here. That was the first red flag for this short move down, because they didn't exit, the buyers. They added more. They were more aggressive. They wanted it more. They were willing to buy into their position rather than just admit defeat and get out a break even. Two things I learned from very well: footprint and volume profile gaps. I have an 80% accuracy on volume profile gap. Also, gaps line with fair value gaps. This drop just happened from gap. I draw from fair value gap was there. Salute. Amazing side. I'm so glad that the volume profile gaps and how you're incorporating the footprint and everything is helping you. That's amazing to hear. I'm really, really happy to hear that. But look at that. They took control again, these buyers. They were you got to hand it to them, you really got to hand it to them. It didn't look, from the open, it didn't really look very good for them, but they were serious, They were very, very serious. Let's see. What do we have here? I mean, again, the buyers are just pushing it up. We're not really seeing, sellers aren't that interested at this moment in time. You had a little cluster of sellers here, but they just instantly failed. They're gone. I mean, they're pretty much, it's over for them. Just got more buying coming in. This is a very, very steep move. We obviously have the highs here that are this high here that is very interesting, because you're going to get naturally a lot of people taking profit. Anyone who bought here, a lot of them are going to target that as their take profit, right? So but that was a really, really, something happened. Where was it? I don't know which candle it was, but there was a candle that looked really, really good in real time. I want to say it was this one or maybe that one. I can't remember, but one of them, there was like a big amount of buyers. They were about to, I think it was like 300. They were about to bring it up and then instantly got pushed down, and then lots of sell volume below them. When you see that, that is a very, very good indicator. It's going to go in that direction. In this case, it pushed down a bit, but it failed just because that buyer was just too adamant. And there's nothing you can do about that. If someone is really adamant and just keeps adding, all right, well, what can you do, right? You just have to accept it. That's part of it's just unfortunately life, But generally speaking, most traders will get the hell out in that situation. They would rather cover their manage their risk rather than add into and be that adamant. So it does make the market a little bit scary when you do have an adamant buyer or an adamant seller in the market, because it makes it just a little bit harder for your trade to kind of, if you're against them, for that trade to work out, because they're just stubborn, very, very stubborn. There's not much you can do about stubbornness. Some people are just stubborn fuckers out there. But look at this. Sellers are coming in again. Definitely most of this volume is going to be buyers getting essentially out at break even, getting trailed out. Not all of it's going to be really fresh sellers. So I'm not really willing to short here and follow that volume, because a lot of this volume, in my opinion, is not going to be true sell pressure. It's going to be more likely just buyers getting essentially getting trailed out, right? And it looks scary. It looks like wow, that's a lot of selling. It's not real true aggression. So it wouldn't surprise me if this very easily reverses again and goes back up. As soon as a bit of buying comes in the market, this could very easily just shoot back up again. But there is actually some fresh selling coming in right now. 14200. That is real sellers, right? Because we've already been at that area, so it can't be buyers getting stopped out. Those were some true sellers, but look, they're kind of failing a bit here. You know, they're not really. See, buyers are adding. It's not really working out for them too well. But oh, there's a little bit of a chunk of sellers, but they need to add more aggression. If sellers come in aggressively, they can push this down a bit. So this is kind of, the defining moment of this area. But it looks like we haven't really seen massive aggressive buyers, though, to be fair. A little bit of buying. There's a bigger chunk of buying. But let's see if sellers are willing to short into that, but I doubt they will. No, you see, it's just more buying. And that's why you've got to be somewhat careful when you're chasing volume, because a lot of time people would read that as like, oh, this is real selling. It's not. It was actually just buyers getting, these buyers here, some of them getting stopped out. This is real buying, right? This is true aggression, right? These buyers have intention. Those sellers didn't have intention to move the market down. That was just stops, essentially, right? But this is true buying. And that's why, unless there's real true intention to sell that actually comes in, buyers could very easily push this market back up again. All right. Oh, that's a bit of smidge of selling coming in. That's real selling, but it's marginal. You saw that it was like 20, 30 contracts. It's like next to nothing. 50, not really a lot, right? They're not really, it doesn't look like they want it, Whereas buyers, they're just willing to put a little bit more size into the market. They want it a bit more. There's a little bit of selling coming, a bit heavier, but again, look, we're trading above it. $40 contracts, nothing. Again, even from the buy side, it's not that spectacular right now. It has kind of died off a bit from both sides. I think buyers are a bit skeptical at buying this high up, but sellers are also not really coming in that aggressively. It looks like something might just happen, though. Something looks a bit weird here. I don't know why. Something just looked a bit strange there for a second. It's hard to explain. No, I think I'm seeing things. I don't think there was anything there. But yeah, it's kind of died off a bit, but there is more kind of buying happening. But I wouldn't also be comfortable buying right now. I mean, would have been nice if I just bought in that second, a little bit of a spike, but it's not really. Tamsleen says, I'm up 1% after being down 6%. Gonna call it there, man. Appreciate your commentary and lessons. Catch you tomorrow. Tamsleen, you're absolutely welcome, and congratulations as well. That's really good to pull it back like that. Very hard to come back when you're down, because it's very easy to kind of let your emotions get the better of you. So really, really well done. Yeah, for clawing it back. But wow, this has already been 2 hours, 15 minutes this live. Yeah, guys, I think I'll probably call it there. I would like to trade a little later on my cash account. Get 1 or 2 trades in, proper ones. But guys, yeah, I'll leave it there. But I will be back tomorrow, as always, 9:30 Eastern. Remember, on the weekend, the clocks went forward. Yes, it went forward. So it's basically I start now 2:30 p.m. UK time, whereas before I started 1:30 UK time. So yeah, just remember that. But 9:30 Eastern, as always, I'll be back tomorrow. So I'll see you all there. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great one. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.